How we doing, everyone? Welcome to a special episode of not League Lads, not yet. That's coming soon, but we're gonna have a talk about the charity match, and all four of us boys played in it. Some more than others. One took an arrow to the knee, but they also got the win. So I'm here with TK, Fred, and my man Retro. We played for the Goannas, if you didn't see, and you boys played for Mark Hughes Foundation. It was a good game. We didn't win, but we gave it a good comeback. I want to put it to Melbourne versus Panthers the first time around. We just didn't get it there, but that's why there's always next year. So, what do you boys think of the game? What do you think of the day? It was a really good turnout compared to last year. So, what are you boys' thoughts on the day?
First and foremost, man, I just want to shout out the boys from SportshedTV. Obviously, this is the third year running. And just speak to the boys leading up to it and during it and after as well. They always talk about how stressful it is. And from pretty much, we don't see it, but from back end of November, typically up until now, they're in the process of getting things done. So, first, massive shout out to them. Hopefully, I know we're not chasing targets. Hopefully, we can eclipse what we did last year. It was a really good day out. It was a really good turnout. It was good to mingle with people. And I guess having the addition of having footy players was probably next level. I know most of us, doesn't matter who you support, right? I think it was just pretty surreal you can now walk off the pitch and say, hey, I played with Carney or I played with such and such, right? And it's just a cool thing I can't put it in my resume. Maybe I can, but it's just a cool thing
achievements played with Blake Austin.
In a bucket hat.
I was a bit confused with that. I was just like, who's that? Someone's forgot to take their fucking hat off,
I was telling him, hey, Blake, bro, you got hat, bro, hat. He's like, don't worry about it. I was like, oh, this bloke's got aura, mate.
Yeah. Oh, man, but yeah, it was a good game, especially with the juniors games coming up beforehand, I was very impressed, that, as you said, they've been doing this since November, and I don't know how these boys do this. It's to set up an event with just one game is just insane. These boys have done it 3 years in a row now, but to send it for 3 years and then have additional games, and, they had Grumpy Coffee, the acai truck, a bunch of activations there. It was really insane. So, Wenty, I think, is the place to be now. We were at Lidcombe the year before. Obviously, Retro, it was mine and your first first game there. TK with Durag TK last year, and Fred was the coach last year. So, how do you boys find it, just in terms of atmosphere? With the crowd, did you feel like a bigger crowd or more did you find a bigger crowd and more atmosphere this year than compared to previous years?
Yeah, they were a lot closer. I think that's the benefit of Wenny. It's very, very tight-knit. Everyone's close together. The grandstand's really big. And, I felt it, man. Especially, running out was my first, one, proper, actually playing, even though it was short-lived. I felt it, man. And it felt so good to be out there. When I subbed off, the first time, and everybody was clapping me off, and I felt like I was in heaven just being back out on the footy field again after a long time. I was saying it that's exactly how I described it, and then 10 minutes later it was all over. But it was sick, man, and yeah, shout out to the SportshedTV boys. Honestly, I talked to them a lot throughout the planning process. They were really short on time for this one because they were waiting for Wentworthville to approve them. They're just very picky with who they let use their field. So there was a long process that they had to go to. Norman was venting to me a lot of the time, but they finally got the approval, and it was such a good day, man. And it's a ground I'm familiar to because I used to play there a lot when I was young. I never played for Wenny, but I was playing for Mounties. You play there all the time. So sick ground, man, and sick day.
That's the first time I've actually been to Wentworthville at all. Not just the park, the suburb. It's the first time I've been to Western Sydney, actually. It reminded me a lot, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Toowoomba, where the Titans and Broncos just played yesterday at the Clive Berghofer Stadium. It reminded me a lot of that. So it's local ground atmosphere. The white picket fence, I really love that. It's real country rugby league kind of stuff. Whoever did the groundwork did a fantastic job. Beautiful, grass looked immaculate. And I second the fact that Norman and Adrian and the boys did outstanding effort. I've run a lot of camps and things, and I know how hard it is to just run it, let alone play in it. And like Norman's like, after we're finished, he's just getting his gear off and he's having to organise getting in and out of the change room. Like, that's a monumental task for 3 guys who just started with an idea and just took off with it. Like, I don't think they're getting paid for it. They're just doing this off their own back. The outlay is far greater than the personal gain to them. But thankfully, Mark Hughes Foundation and Goanna Academy, big beneficiaries of it. Hopefully, I mean, am I wrong in saying that this also does have a slight angle towards like Western Sydney and kind of building community foundation kind of things? Is that right? Yes?
Yeah, I'd say so. But I think it's just NRL community foundations as well, right?
Yep.
Like, especially with all of us, like, it brings everybody together. Like,
So could you see it leaving Western Sydney in the future?
I think I think I could down the track. I
Yep.
think it's just it's just a lot harder. It's a lot harder for them to try and get those connections outside of the area
fair.
that they're connected with, because they have connections to Parramatta leagues and that Parramatta rugby league comp, and that's why it was pretty easy for them to get a stadium there and get everything organised in that district compared to going outside of it.
Yeah.
But I think one day, for sure, if we keep growing and the numbers get bigger, we might not even be able to host a game in a stadium that small. In 5 years, when we get bigger names and stuff, like, who knows where it can go. So, but yeah, it's really just, they've done a really good job. And Wenny, I think it's a place where it's going to be for the next few years at least. And who knows where it can go after that.
And I think the good thing about being at Wentin, obviously there was the big hurdles at the beginning with just like getting it approved. Now that it's been approved once and they have that connection there, I think like from now on, especially coming for next year, it'll just be a lot more easier to get it approved. And then that hurdle that took them so long to get over, it'll just be like that. It'll just be like Lidcombe as well. So I want to talk to you, boys, just about your experience in the match. Obviously, my first time, your first time as well, Fred, being on the field. TK, this is your second time, I believe. I want to start with you, Retro. How did it feel being out there? Obviously, you can train so much. You can have the experience playing in the past, but being out there on the field, how'd you feel and how was the experience?
Well, I was saying to the boys before, you think you can train enough, and then you get out there, you do one run, you're blowing. I was blowing, running to the fence to do the warm-up. I was swinging the leg going, geez, I'm stuffed already. I need a sub just from the warm-up. Look, it's interesting. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship. I'm not an aggressive guy by nature, so I really struggle to get myself up for that kind of thing. Everyone else is like, let's I just can't. It takes a lot for me to get in that space. I felt like I was relatively well prepared. It was an odd game because everything was so sideways. I expected everything to come charging through the middle and make heaps of tackles, but I spent my time running back and forth like a red heeler. So, it was a great experience. It's something that I love. Like, I love rugby league, but it's not my natural environment to throw myself into bashing people or whatever kind of thing. Would I do it again next year? Yeah, I'd say I probably would. But yeah, I think it's just not my forte to be in that space. Where some of those other guys, Stratus just straight off the field. Some of those other guys are bred for that environment. So yeah.
These boys, I remember in training session, they're like, "Oh, don't worry, like you guys think we're puffing out, like when we're on the field, we're puffed." And I saw Stratus just like jumping off, running off. I was like, "Bro, you guys said you were going to be like gassed as much as us, and you guys are just running like, oh, it's fun." Bro, I had hands on knees at the end of the game. Like, I tried my best not to show it at all, but I was gassed at the beginning. Fred, obviously, you had, I don't know how much it's been told, but you had your experiences on the field. How was it playing, first of all? I know you wanted to get out there with the contact. You nearly scored a try 10 metres out. What was your experience on the field while, like, at the beginning at least?
Man, I was so stoked to be out there. So, even though I'm not really an aggressive bloke off the field, like on the field, it doesn't take much for me to switch it on. But I think like I was like trying to use some of the stuff that's happened last year like as fuel to get me out on the field, and I was G'd up from the get go. As soon as Stav like caught that kickoff at the start, like my mouth was watering. Like I was hungry for the ball, right? And it was just so good to be out there. I took a couple like pretty tough carries, like couple of pretty good tackles, but I was both because we kept making line breaks and stuff. And man, like we were rolling through you guys in the first 10 minutes. Like my first stint I came off was 14-0, and I get off the, I get off the field after my first hit. I'm like, mate, I'm never singing that national anthem ever again. That shit gassed me out hard. Like, I reckon the national, like, I was gone. Like, I was like, all right, I've got these like gel pack thingies that can get me to like 10, 15 minute stints easy. I forgot how much energy, because it's been 8 years since I played footy. I forgot how much energy it takes out of you getting hit and hitting people. Like, it takes a lot of energy out of you. I was gone at 5 minutes. I was like, fuck, man, like, I've got to get another 5 minutes out. And we did, because we were scoring tries, so the clock kept ticking, you know? And I get off 14-0, and I'm like, mate, I reckon it was the national anthem that made me guess out so quick, because I reckon I had a couple good minutes in me that were taken out by me singing the national anthem pretty hard. But it was just so much fun to be out there, man. And then I just took a tackle all wrong, and my knee buckled. Like, I felt a pop, and like, it wasn't as bad as when I first did it, right? I remember how bad it was the first time. I took a step, like a massive rush of pain, and I get up. I took one step, and my knee buckled completely. This time I walked off the pitch on my own, but I knew straight away something was wrong, and I'm signaling to the sideline like, I got a sub, man. Like, something's up with my knee, and bro, it was within 1 minute of me being on the bench, I was ruled out for the rest of the game. Like, this physio said, mate, you're up 20-6 at this point. Why risk it? Like, it's not worth the risk. And they did the ACL test on me, and it was like Tyson trademarks for his face when he did it. It just told me a million words. So I was absolutely gutted in the sheds at halftime. And the boys, like, I'm on the physio table, and all the boys get around me, and they're all touching my head as they're about to go out to, like, they're doing their halftime speech, right about to go out, and everyone's around me, like, touching my head and slapping me, like do it for Fred, you know? And that was freaking mad. The boys are just the best, man. And even, like, bro, Blake, Austin, and Tax, like, especially Austin, man, like, he gave me, like, a lot of words of encouragement, was talking to me after a bit. Like, they all felt really bad for me, because I've just come back from a torn ACL, and I've probably done it again. So that was the real gut wrencher, I guess. Like, I'd done a lot of work, a lot of rehab, like, was trying my best to get in shape for the game, and now I'm back to square one. But I don't regret it one bit. I had that much fun playing for that 10, 15 minutes that, like, I just want to feel that feeling again one day. I mean, who knows if we're going to now.
Yeah, well, maybe next year. Obviously, it's going to be a very long journey, and, like, you've gone through this before, and, like, just props to you, you know, like, putting yourself out there, knowing, you know, the risk, and, you know, a lot of people wouldn't risk it at all.
Could you play in the disability game?
Yeah, I'd have to be on crutches. I've got to get good on crutches, man. But,
Mate, if you get stepped and it'll just run through in that.
I was trip him over with a crutch. Trip him over, ankle tap. But I
hope you get folded in half by some kid who's just, like, ripping and raring to go.
Oh, mate, I'd be ripping and raring to go too, trust me.
Yeah, but that's not a win. If you fold them, that's not a win. That's to your detriment.
Hey,
so it's a lose-lose.
Is it really? Because I'd technically be eligible, right? But here's the thing, and I said it to all the boys, like, I don't regret it one bit. Like, if I'm going to do my knee again, there's no better place to do it than, like, with my mates and peers and former NRL players. Like, I used to look up to those guys growing up, you know what I mean? And maybe not Mitchell Pearce, but the other ones.
Do you forgive him?
I forgive him for the origin stuff now. Like, he was actually a full mad bloke, and he had a smile on his face the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole time, bro. His own teammate gets demolished, and he's there with a massive grin on his face. I was like, right, this guy's actually all right, eh? So, like, all that animosity from all the years of losing for New South Wales, like, that's all gone now, I guess. It was a sick day, and I said, man, there's no better place to do it than there, with, like, in that environment for charity, bro. Like, it's the most important thing, and I just was so eager to get involved, like, and play for a cause like that. And I just hope that, you know, my body isn't going to quit on me, and that I can do it again, you know?
No, it'd be really good to see you out on the field again. A lot of people would love to see you.
For sure.
TK, obviously you were here last year. This time we had ex-NRL players. Can you tell me, like, the the kind of differences you felt between the two games was which one was harder and like which one had sort of more intensity and your experience in between the two games.
Look, we actually completed sets in this year's charity match, so I think that's probably the best place to start. I think we're joking around in the sheds before, like me and Mo was saying, I reckon we've probably completed 5 sets in the last 2 years before yesterday's game. And I think it was off one of our first hit-ups. We put up a kick. I was like, oh, this is the type of game I'm playing. Like, we're actually getting through sets and being able to roll through it. So it was definitely a lot more intense. I think having the boys there brought a lot more structure. And I mean that in a good way. I think it's fun when we're playing the way we're playing, but a lot more people got the ability to get their hands on the ball. I felt like there was a lot less errors yesterday as compared to previous years.
At least on your team.
I don't know.
It wasn't too bad. Mitch Pearce dropped one out of dummy half. That wasn't
Yeah,
fantastic.
I gave him a spray after that one, bro.
I just could imagine the smile on your face when you
I
saw that.
would have played the whole mark.
I think it was early on, eh? I think.
I was
Yeah.
first marker and
That was
I made
our
the
first set
tackle.
down your end.
Yeah,
We were ripping and raring, and then
I think I yelled like, "Who let the dogs out?" Something like that. 'Cause, I mean, I love giving people like a spray, and like when Hainsey was kicking a goal kick, I was like, "You wouldn't make it, Hainsey, lolly legs." You know, I just love giving for abs when he dropped it off kickoff. I was.
He was
Like,
dirty, yeah.
I'm a very vocal player, like as a teammate and as an opposition player. And I just love to like talk shit and any chance I could get. And I was, that one was. And Mitch smiled at that one, I think, as well. So that's what I'm saying. Grin the whole time. And I'm I can't hate a bloke that's smiling and having fun and you know,
Like you could
playing
have been the
for
other
charity.
way. Yeah, like it could have been the other way. Like at the end of the day, like we don't know these people outside of their, I guess, their media personality or their
Professional career.
professional career, right? So essentially, they could have just come in there, put their heads down, basically just gone about the day, or let's say rocked up an hour before and just not really got involved. But I think what we all appreciate, and I think I'm going to speak for all of us, is that the fact that I don't know what your dressing room was like, but like we sat down with the boys, like I didn't feel like I wasn't sitting with Fred. I didn't feel like I wasn't sitting with Flaxy, for example. I felt like I was sitting with you. There's no point I felt like there was someone who's inferior to me because of what they've done previously. I just felt like I was hanging out with one of the boys, and I think that was probably the best thing to come out of having those footy players as well. And it helps from a growth perspective as well. Like, that's what they bring. Like, all right, it's a laugh for them, but they bring eyes to this. And if we're trying to turn this into something that's going to make a huge difference, not saying that it doesn't already, but having those eyes and bringing people and making people more alert because, yeah, all right, Abs got hit really hard, but that's now a viral clip where...
That's a penalty, by the way. Yes, quietly. That was a shoulder to the chin.
a penalty for getting tackled too hard, mate. Yeah.
But what was? No, well, I don't know if we're talking more gameplay stuff. I mean, Donny Sports had his first run in 3 years, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Got smashed and got a penalty for what?
Head high.
It was not.
Mate, it's... Oh, mate, don't tackle Donny. You're not allowed to tackle Donny, mate.
He got his first touch though, so that's an achievement.
I'm glad.
He and I had the same amount of runs. We had one each, so there you go. I'm only really.
I
his
told
first
you,
Donny.
I'm like, because we were just looking. There were so many pics of us two on the bench looking very strapping, you know, and I get it was just too good, and I was like, man, if you don't take a run, Donny, I'm gonna kick your ass, bro. Like I said that in the sheds, I said that on the bench. Like I wanted Donny to take some carries. And he's
Good on you also for
Hey.
Yeah, I was going to say
Rock,
that it's the only person who got like the first person view, like
Nilso.
also with the phone, getting that run on from the back, multiple angles.
that was actually mad. I didn't know that like Nilso was recording, bro. So and I saw him on the field. I'm like, what's he doing there? Like handing out water, like. But he was a funny bloke throughout
He's
the
a
whole
good
the
laugh.
whole
I
day,
love
Nilso.
Nilso.
The amount of times he called you guys a bunch of cats. Like when we were in
Not
warm up,
listen to those.
when we were in warm ups, I swear, like we were just doing like a count on how many times he calls them a bunch of cats, and he's a class act, man. Nilso, absolute legend.
You need personalities like that.
Yeah,
But the thing is, there's so many in our dressing room at least, so many personalities that are like.
probably say the same. In
And
yours.
for
like,
sure.
we don't know what was happening in your shed. But
Yeah, I mean, like, so in terms of voices in pre-game, like Stratus is kind of like the leader because it like from a playing perspective. Matty George was kind of like the organizer, and then of course you got Mitch and Todd there. Now going back one step, like fantastic guys to get alongside. But I didn't feel for a second that they came in, like you're saying, with that superiority complex. The first things they did is said, so what are you boys, you like vloggers and creators? And they said, yeah. And they said, so how do you do it? Because they're doing the whole 6s and 7 pot. So they came in to learn.
Which is a testament
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the character,
So
right?
very humble. And like just good guys to get beside. Like I expected to kind of them to talk to you for a second, then be like, okay, I've given you your time, now I'll move on. I chatted to Todd for ages just about his life and stuff like that. Like, yeah, great guys.
And these boys were like happy to, you know, like we all got photos, you know, like we're all just like it felt like we were just a part of the team, you know. It didn't feel like they were, you know, they were putting their own opinions, you know. Well, they were putting their own opinions, like helping out, giving us suggestions, you know, helping us out to improve the game on our side of, especially at halftime. Like those boys were like, you know, when we conceded our tries against you guys, like he was like, you know, don't worry about like get back into the game, keep your head on, you know. You know, like Mitchell Pearce, got to give him a class act because he just kept, you know, the positive vibes especially when everyone was heads down. You know, it was 20-6 at one point.
Right? And as Falcon would say, what is running overs and unders?
Yeah. We got to tell that story, eh? So after the game, we're walking to Wenny to get some drinks and a feed, and Falcon is telling this story about how Mitch kept telling him to run unders. And it was like the third time, and he goes, it was 3 times that Mitch asked him, 3 separate runs, and he goes to Mitch, I don't know what the fuck you're asking me. I've never played a game of League in my life. Mitch started pissing himself up.
So I never played over a big fella.
But dude, it was so easy to play with them. But like, I've played with some really good players in the past, but they're just a class above everybody. Like they're in second gear, and like the passes are all crisp, like right where you want them.
Yeah, just touching on that, Fred. There's a specific, because I remember this happened on me. Pierce had the ball, and I thought I had my inside shoulder covered. Mate, Kanye just came straight through it. And at that moment, I was like, you can tell the difference between, because I was like, you can tell they're hanging back a little bit, or they're not playing at the intensity they probably played at before.
Well, definitely.
But for that split second, they just turned it on. I was like, he's gone.
I think that was a bit of a difference. So 2 things. One, I think there was a try in the first half, but Blake Austin made a break. And all he had to do was step back inside on Boz and he would have scored. But he went right and he passed it. And I think it led to a try anyway. But I think in the first half, I think Mitch and Todd for us were like, oh, I guess our job is to like get the other boys in the game. Second half, they're like, stuff this, we're going to win.
They went to from first to second gear. Because like, bro, Todd, like my carry in the off the kickoff, right, or the first tackle, whatever, bro. Like, obviously, I like to use my footwork and stuff, but, bro, Todd was, like, not even looking at me to tackle me, and he's right in front of me. So I just went around him. I'm like, what is Todd Carney, like, not hitting me? I want to know what it feels like to get hit by an NRL player. And then I've just run through, like, 2-3 of them, and I'm like, man, why was Mitch, like, Todd was not wanting to tackle me because he was in first gear. Imagine, but if he was in full gear, bro, for sure that guy chops me down. Like, I was like, I never got a chance to run at Mitch, but I was like, if he actually wanted to tackle me, he would. He wouldn't need anybody else. I'd get 1-on-1 the easy. But they were giving us a lot of space. Like they were in first gear, but they were still class above everybody.
Brad didn't get the memo.
Brad, I gotta say, Brad Tagarigi, bro, he was in like second or third gear the whole game. Like he started there and just never left, bro.
He was in first. He was in first gear, and then there was like that one run in the first half where he was in third gear, and poor Norman, like he had like 3 attempts, and he's just getting fended, bro. I felt so bad for Norman.
Norman's doing this. He's just like, no.
I could have stopped laughing, and then obviously the hit. I don't even think he went to like tackle him that hard. It just was solid contact.
That's like a soft tackle for him. That's a training tackle.
He still had 3 more gears left, bro. I'm telling you.
Sure.
And like that's what Mason Scope was saying in their podcast today. Like Takarangi, like he could have ended him, bro. And Mitch smiling, man. I just can't get that image.
I love the fake sook. It just seems to look down.
And we're obviously going crazy on the bench. Like I even stood up. And I couldn't even walk properly, right? Even I stood up and I was like, and I know Abs, the guy that were here, and we're like, but he hasn't got it, he hasn't moved. Is he all right?
After like 10 seconds, we're like, oh, is he okay?
Is he alive?
Everyone was laughing. Like, and you heard the whole crowd. Like, I was on the field at that stage. I see it happen. And you just hear the whole crowd. Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, and like, everyone was laughing,
No, was
and then
big
it went
impact.
silent.
Big
Yeah.
impact.
Yeah.
Bro, someone I just
Credit
heard
him for not losing the ball.
Yeah,
that was the most
Well,
impressive
just
thing.
before he took that run, because that's the second time they kicked that way, and I was
Yeah.
playing prop on the other side,
Yeah.
and the ball's going off. Never comes to me, and then Abs got hit. I thought, oh, geez, good.
Thankfully.
Yeah, that was me
Thank
too.
you.
That was me too. They kept kicking it, blew it. I'm like, I want to fucking take a hit off the kickoff. And then, anyways, it just wanted the ball to come to me. But I'm lucky I wasn't versing Takarangi, you know? Like,
Well, I remember because after that happened, we had the ball because we started getting some momentum after that.
You had all the momentum in the second half.
Yeah, and then I remember they weren't passing right. They weren't. I was like, pass right. And I see I'm lined up with Brad Takarangi. I'm like, if abs get I'm gonna my half my body's gonna be on the floor and the rest of it's gonna be 10 meters back. I was like, maybe just don't go my way because I did not want to get hit by him. But. You know, I'm not scared to get hit, but after that, I was just like,
He was scared.
he's a big boy,
I was
man.
just like, he's
Yeah.
a big.
I
He-
didn't
like,
realize how
I-
big he was.
Dude, like,
You walked in there.
I knew how big he was, and even I was shocked as to how big he was. I've seen him in person before.
You know who I'm surprised on how big he is? GI, bro. He came into the sheds. I was
Yeah.
like,
How
what
did
is
pe-
this?
And the fact that he's that big and he would outrun everybody on a line break.
Yeah.
Like,
And running on an edge.
Yeah.
Stuff tackle that at center. No way, man.
no way. I
money,
can't.
bro.
Josh Morris tried his best, and he couldn't do much. And that's one of the best
Ask
defensive
Jamie
centers
Soward.
I've
You've
ever-
got to turn a road bump.
Chrissy Sandow too. Chrissy Sandow as well. So yeah, he's a big lad, isn't he? GI. I saw him at Time Zone once, bro, and I was like, that has to be GI because no one is that big.
no one
like GI, right? Man, it was so much fun out playing with all the boys and playing with the former players, man, and they weren't really washed up. They were all in shape and still playing recently. So it was a lot of damn fun, man. And they were so I know we've mentioned it previously, but they were so damn nice to us. It was like they were one of us essentially. And I saw a lot of mutual respect, but a lot of respect from the players towards them as well. So they sort of knew they were in a really good environment because the amount of people that I saw come up to Blake, including myself, Blake and Brad, and saying it was a pleasure to play alongside him because it was this is stuff that we dream about. And
not a lot of
finally get
people get on their resume to say they played alongside.
Blues Husk
Yeah,
combination.
exactly. Beat a Dalian winner. You know what I mean?
You know, but to play alongside an
Texas,
ex NRL player, not a lot of people get to say that, and a lot of people just had I felt like I had to say thank you so much for taking their time because these boys they didn't have to do this really to take their time out of their their schedule to come out and put on a show and actually put on a show, not come down, do nothing. So
Well, one thing I got to add as well is I don't know if anyone knows this, after the game was over, Mitch Pearce took his jersey off and he said, who wants this? And I said, oh, yeah, I'll take it and give it away. And Norman said, Adrian said, sorry. Well, how about we auction it off? And so that was the plan that Mitch's jersey was there. He was going to sign it. Now, at the end of the game in the sheds, I don't know where it went. So that jersey, if anyone from the charity match picked that up, I don't know if the boys have found it, but if you pick that up, can you let the Sports Shed boys know? Because the plan was to auction that off to go to the charities.
Same thing happened with Blake Austin's jersey. Was I think he gave it to someone after because he didn't know what to do with it in the sheds, and I don't know. I actually don't know where it went, but he could have gone to one of the kids or something. But they took photos with everybody,
Yep.
by the way. They literally didn't say no to, and we all got booted off the field by the
Security
ground
and-
officials and security. But my mum, diehard Roosters fan, and I told mum, don't make me take a photo of Mitch because I was just I'd never want she knows. we had
seen the pain.
we had arguments with about Mitch that broke up the family. You know what I mean? But of course, when Mum asked me to get into the photo, I could not say no, and I was like, I like Mitch now. After he took his time to come and play with guys who were essentially randoms to them.
They were the last two to leave.
And they were the last two to leave. They
Yep.
took photos with everybody. They even waited for me because I was slow as limping across to them. And they stayed and chatted to everybody. I have so much respect for those guys now. I did before, but it's a different level of respect when you see it in person and see how professional they were with everybody. And they just had they had a good time, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Like,
You know,
so.
sometimes they say don't meet your heroes, but I don't think this applies in this case. You know, I think it's definitely everyone walks away
Yeah.
and is.
And I was worried
over
about
the
that
moon.
thing because I didn't say this at the time. I didn't think about it till afterwards. Yeah, Mitch Pearce and Todd Carney were the reason that I bought a Roosters membership in 2010 and have held it ever since.
Okay, yeah.
And then when they walk in the door, like I didn't quite have a second. Like Mitch just came around the corner and he was just right
Yeah.
there, so I didn't have time to get starstruck. But like at no point did I feel like you were
can't
saying
speak.
before, or like that they're just here and they don't want to be there. That's super friendly from the start. Yeah, can't rate highly enough.
bro, Mitch and Todd came up to me and shook my hand. I was nervous as hell to shake their hand because I was walking into the sheds. Mitch was like putting his boot on or something like in the hallway, and he came and shook my hand. I was like, hey, go on, mate. And then, I was trying to act all stoic because he's the enemy technically, but it was like, fuck, he came and just shook my hand. What a nice bloke, Like you don't, like there was like zero arrogance or anything like that. Like zero of like the mindset that I'm above you guys. They were acting like they were one of us, and if they can get some like. I think 2 each team is the perfect number. I think if you
think so.
go a bit more,
Or even if
It
you
just
had an
gets-
alternating two.
Yeah.
I love how we found out about Brad. Like,
oh
6
my
hours
bro,
before.
So, is this story public? Because I reckon we should do it.
I was at church, bro. So I drive to go to Paraleaks to have breakfast with all the boys, right? And we get it, and somebody shows me a message from the group chat saying, "Hey, bro, have you seen bro? We got Takarangi
21.
playing." I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Because I
That was a
realized,
mystery. We didn't know. We
Yeah.
knew about Austin.
Yeah, right.
But the boys had like pretty much said to us in the chat, like, you're gonna get another NRL player. It'll be mystery number 21.
So
It'll be reviewed.
we-
We knew
have a
that
bit of-
before you did.
Yeah, we knew that before you. So we found out that apparently what happened was he liked one of Sportshed's like photos.
Yeah.
So they just messaged him and were like, this was like a day or two before, and he was like, "Oh, would you like to play?" And he was like, "Yeah." All right. Like that's literally how it went. Like
Yeah.
2 days before the game. So like it was cutting close, but it was like a real like shout out to him. Like he went hard, but like he with 2 days notice, I mean that he played for the Cook Islands last year. Like he's not out of shape, so
he was in the gym the day before. Bro. Yeah.
So shout out to him for like dropping everything and like sort of being a part of it. But yeah, those boys. I'm interested to see with next year. Will we get same players, different players? Like will we try build the game more? But I think as you said, 2's definitely the right amount.
Well, let me ask you this question, everyone.
yeah.
So at the moment, this is the third year it's happening. There's been a bit of changeover just from the creators' sense,
Yeah.
players, but there has been a kind of steady core, right?
Yes, yeah.
Do you think there should be a cycle, like you have your turn and you pass it on? Do you think it should be? Obviously, I know the boys want to like get a roster together that's easy to organise. Organisation is 9/10 of the equation.
Yeah.
But do you think that creators should have a go and step aside and let the next person through? What's your take?
Look, can I take this first?
You go first, my friend.
Look, as someone that's played twice and probably someone that's not on camera as much as I'm behind camera, like with this stuff, right? I'll put my hand up every year to play, but I also think rotation's good because it brings new eyes.
You're humble enough to
Right.
step aside if they say.
100%, because from my opinion, at the end of the day, it's not about whether I play or not. It's about the bigger purpose and serving a bigger purpose, right? We're trying to raise money for, if it's MHF and Goanna or if the charities ever change, whatever it is, right? That is the sole purpose of what we're trying to do. And if you bring new people in, you're going to bring new eyes on. If you bring new eyes on, because of how great it is, I don't think you'll lose people that have already been there and been a part of it. But if you can pick up another 5, 10 people here and there, like it goes a long way in the bigger picture and the bigger purpose. So definitely wouldn't say I won't step aside or anything like that.
Well, for me, it's like, I think change is good. Like I wouldn't be here in this studio right now if it wasn't for the charity match. Yeah. Really, like I was, introduced to the boys late last year, early last year before the charity match. They said you can be the water boy, and so I was like, let's go. Like what I was like, I watched the water boy to get my knowledge up, and I knew Fred at that stage, but I hadn't really, we hadn't really.
I hadn't met you.
we hadn't met each other, but we did a fantasy together, and that's where we kind of like met. And it was the first time I'd met him. It was the first time I'd met a lot of people, and now, you know, we went out to Sneakies after the charity match, and, you know, now, you know, I got to meet you, TK, got to meet Sui, and got to meet all the boys, and, you know, like it has made change. It's changed my life, you know. It changed the trajectory that last year went on for me. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do. I went to a lot of Panthers games, but I also did the podcast with the boys, and just, you know, I wasn't part of it the first year, and being a part of it the second year, you know, it just creates. I was talking to Norman about it. It just creates a lot of opportunities for different people, and, you know, like, and also for the fans' perspective as well. It allows to see other creators they might not have been aware of. You know, they might not have been aware of you, Retro, you know, and your jerseys and the stuff you do. And now that you've been in there and they've seen you, they might look at your page and go, "Oh,
no,
this
all
is
they
stuff
asked
I'm
me to
interested
do, the boys asked me to do, is to shake my booty off the back fence. That's the only request I got, which I obliged, may I add.
I got a lot of back fence calls from the crowd too. And I'm like, bro, I don't even have the stamina to run that extra 10, 15 meters. And I'll be too slow. Like, I'd mistime it because I haven't run off the back fence in a very long time. So I'd mistime it completely. Look, in terms of the rosters, like I know the main core of both teams have stayed pretty much the same. There have been a couple turncoats. Like, I'm like a borderline turncoat, but I was like...
Oh, Darla had a lot to say about that one.
yeah, but I never played. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to make Mahmoud and Moses turncoat. And because I actually played for Ronald McDonald House, the first one. I didn't play. I was meant to, but I had to go get surgery, right? So I said, I put my hand up and said, don't make them actually turncoat. I never played, so technically I'm still a free agent. You know, I never debuted. So I went across. Blake, yeah, I don't know why why he picked me. I drove that guy around all that first year. But I love Blake. Shout out to
Look, I
him.
want to say this about Dalla. I said it to him as well, Dalla. I said, Dalla, you're looking good, but apparently the leaning out is going to ruin you for the footy match.
And he did.
The reason why I didn't drop a hat trick on us. He looks good, but I don't know if he can still murder through. I love Dalla, man. He's, yeah, proper top player.
Yeah, I think in terms of this, I think the core, like, they were thinking about changing just changing the rosters completely, even though it's the same people, just changing their teams a bit. But especially because this one was really close, I think you guys are sort of going to run it back and same as for the most part.
Want 10 different.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
I think still stinging.
I think you're right. There's got to be something continuous about keeping them, like, so if everyone from MHF just turns up as a new people next year and they're like, oh, 4P. It doesn't really mean anything, right? Because they weren't there.
Yeah.
Like, you're just riding off the coattails of
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
so, yeah, there's got to be something there. I think from my experience, like this, like what you're saying, it's kind of been a bit of a life changer. For me, it's not just the footy. Like, I've turned this whole thing into like a media tour. Oh, like just this weekend plus. And so that's a pretty big opportunity. You know, so for other people to get a crack at that selfishly as a creator is a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
So I think for me personally, I probably wouldn't go beyond 2 years because I'd want someone else to have that crack. But like you say, if the boys said we need someone and we can't organise it, it's there.
yeah, and I think to be fair, like a few people pull out every year.
Yeah.
Like
We lost a player 2 minutes from kickoff.
yeah, that's true. We lost someone.
Who was that?
Castro. Hadi Saleh, the match-winning try, his brother.
Okay.
Pulled out because he's a pilot and he got stuck in Brisbane. But yeah, I think they like there's a lot of spots to fill and like in terms of changing the teams, like I would never ever imagine Bluey or Nilso playing for a team that's not MHF.
Yeah.
Because
Nilso,
like Nilso lives and breathes Mark Hughes Foundation, mate. As much as he does Newcastle, that's how because I think he knows Mark personally and he's from Newey and so is Mark. So he's got that attachment to Mark Hughes Foundation. I could never imagine him playing for someone that wasn't them, you know. So
Well, I mean, he was actually quite the draw cards, maybe not the right term, the talking point, because there was this whole thing about the suspension. You know?
Oh, yeah,
Is he going to get the suspension?
Yeah.
But it was this great little media earworm that just kind of got everyone talking. It put the reality to bed of what was actually going on behind the scenes. But it was this thing that got everyone talking about, is it a suspension or is he a dog for a late shot? But it just got eyes on SportShed TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will be for next year, it will be abs, and he got whacked this year.
CTE.
Is he gonna come out for revenge or whatever else?
I don't think.
That's one person you
I
don't
don't think
disagree
Brad's
with,
coming
Sean.
back.
Brad
man.
Takarangi's not coming.
Will we get a jail yard confession from Brad Takarangi or something like that as he's up for manslaughter? Like,
Then they're gonna put a photo of Brad Tucker not playing because he's locked up.
he's in his orange jumpsuit.
Did Blake Austin say something about walking off the field because he didn't want to be accessible?
Bro, there were so many comments on that. Like, I'm sorry, Abs did not pull the handbrake, by the way. He
Yes,
just got
I
flogged.
agree.
He
I
just
agree.
got hammered, bro. And like, we had like the head of the Rugby League Player Association shaming him, bro. I'm like, get out of here, bro. It's a game of rugby league.
Pull up. He did
mate,
not pull up. He
it's-
just got hit up.
Listen, no. Clint Newton was whinging about Brad's hit. And I'm like, no, bro. Like, this is a game of rugby league. Like, he didn't go that hard. Abs is a big boy. He can take it, and he took it, man. He was normal. I didn't see any signs of CTE when we were eating.
He gave him a little quiz. He gave him a little quiz, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But, nah, man. It was, I don't mind getting smashed like that. Like, it's part of the game. And I think
Content as well.
it's content,
Yeah, that's
man.
right.
Like, that.
We
that-
are content.
Well, it's
This
a bit
is
we're all
how-
talking about, isn't it?
This is how we grow the event, like things
Yeah.
like that. Like let's look at the Sidemen TV charity match. Speed's offside goal was the biggest clip that they got. You know what I mean? And that spreads the game so much. And we're talking about having people if they should play an X amount of games for giving the jersey up. The way I see it is, I think I take it from the perspective of, obviously you want to see a lot of people have a go, right? But I think you got to look at it from the perspective of what's best for the charities.
Correct. Yep.
And like sometimes it's all about getting the biggest names in because that's going to generate the most,
Where the most eyes come
the
from.
most eyes and the most interaction and the most money for the charities. So I think they take it. You got to look at it from that perspective. Like you sort of don't want to prevent giving everybody a go can sometimes mean less money for the charities because big names miss out.
Yep.
For
I think
smaller names.
It's not a counter to that, but it's the flow on is that as it grows in size, the more eyeballs it gets, the more creators who are out there or fringy kind of whatever people who are big names. I know of guys who are big names who would be happy to play in this that would bring eyeballs.
Exactly.
And
That's
so,
what we wanted.
that's right.
It's
So,
not,
so for that reason, once again, that's where you say, I could say I'm part of this thing and I played the last 3 years and no one can kick me out, or you say I might give up my spot to X because he's going to generate twice as much.
100%.
I think where we probably land is what you said. We kind of need that happy medium where you've got the people that kind of keep that continuation. So you've got that ongoing storyline, like you just said. But at the same time, also having that rotation where you freshen things up as well. So I think that's probably the best way to go about it. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
And that looks sort of how it happens. There was a lot of new faces this year, and that's just because a few people couldn't play this year for whatever reason, and I think that's just going to naturally happen. No matter how good the event is, there are always going to be people that can't make it due to commitments and stuff. So, and that lets a steady amount of new people come in, and there's a ton of new people that are constantly entering the NRL content creator industry, and
Julian Zane were good additions. For example, this year.
Zane was in year one as well, but then he missed out on last year.
Both of them missed out because they were both over in Bali, I believe.
Yeah,
so it's it's good to have that rotation. And it's good to have a new group of eyes. And I think the more it goes, as you said, the game kind of grows itself, and you still need those storylines. So it'll be really good to see how it sort of builds next year, especially if you switch out, especially the XNRL players. If we could get maybe one year, more younger.
Maybe get one of them
Trelly
coaching,
Mitt.
for example.
coaching,
That's
in
another
other roles.
avenue, yeah.
I think that our current players wouldn't be able to play in an event like this.
They play in the Koori knockout.
That's true. That is true.
I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
you're right.
You never know until it happens. Retro pointed this out to me. I want to see what is everyone's Dally M points for players in the game. So this is from. Do we want to go to each team or just?
I think
all
pick
up?
from your own team because it's a little bit easier to pick. And I'm happy to go first because I wrote this question. But it's easier to see from your side of the fence who you thought did well. Yeah. And so obviously on the day, Borat got man of the match, which I think was fair call. From our side of the equation, going 1 point, 2 point, 3 points is the highest.
Yep.
I actually gave 1 point to Abs. Like he was
He
not
took some
just
tough carries.
not just that run. He was pretty unrelenting all day.
Took me out of the game.
Yep, there you go. 2, I know this is cheating a little bit, but I've given a tie to Adrian, who was on the wing, scored 2 tries, caught that kick. That was a tough catch in a high pressure moment. And Darlow, there was multiple people who came up to him afterwards and said, "Oh, geez, you're tough." Because I
Darlow's a machine.
lost 30 kilos and he was still playing front row. He drifted out on edge every now and then because he was told to, not because he was shirking it. But he still took tough carries up the middle. And 3, maybe underrated, but I certainly noticed him. JC, who's Borat's brother, was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He had that mad tackle and Borat right in front of me. And,
Is that the one that was on the sideline?
on the side,
Yeah.
I have it right in front of me, but I was in the second row of Silver Seats, and I'm like, bro, if that happened in front, because he was arcing up to his own brother, if that, because he's my teammate, I would have just launched JC if I was on the sideline, right? Like, don't talk shit to my teammate, but I mean, I got ice on at this point, and I can't do nothing. But that was so funny. I was pissing myself laughing because they're like literally like brotherly love right in front of me, like they're having a go at each other. But JC was really damn good.
Broke his finger too, by the way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. We'll need surgery.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Well, we'll go to you, Fred, and then
No, we'll go to you. Go to you
for me.
first.
Oh, for me, like without the ex-NRL players, I think for me, I'm going to give 3 points to Adrian. I think, as you said, that catch on the, he inserted himself into that game very well on that right edge, and the two tries he did score, like that changed the game. Like it gave us the momentum we needed, and we wouldn't have got that without him out there. I don't think I was out on that edge. I don't think I would have made that catch. I don't think a lot of people would have made that catch. So I'd definitely give it to him. 2 points. So many. Yeah, I don't want to copy too much off you, but I'm trying to for me, everyone played like really, really hard. I want to go to you, Fred. I'll go to you, Fred. I'm still thinking of mine
Listen,
because
man,
I'm still
I see a guy on their team that's been hard done by, I reckon. I think Stratus has got he'd be.
I
The
think-
only reason I didn't put him in is because he is basically an NRL player.
Yeah,
He's very good. He's
Yeah,
going to Vegas to play Greece against US.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's the only reason
so-
I left him out.
All right, I'll
But
I'll give it to Stratus.
he was a machine.
And-
bro.
absolutely.
I just want to give a shout out to him as well because he made a line break and then he slowed down because I think he was looking for Jason David and he has so much heart and he was so nice to everyone. Honestly, you don't feel when you see these ex-NRL players or like people that are still in the system, you get sort of intimidated by them, but like not once did I feel not that like if he ran at me, I'd feel intimidated, but he was very welcoming, very warm to everyone. So I'm gonna give him 2 points, and then Abs just for the courage to run at Brad Takaranga, I'm gonna give him the 1 point for me. So, but yeah, I shout out to Stratus. He's a really loving, welcoming guy to the group, and he definitely made everyone in that locker room very feel welcome and happy in that. So.
Who do you reckon? You were on the field for longer, so I reckon I give you the nod. Unless I got 3 guys if you want me to go.
I'll go after you, but it's pretty tough, man. So I'm trying to, I think you can't give 2 threes. That's the thing that sucks.
Yeah.
Look, I think Borat gets 3. I think 2, it goes to Joe K. I think Joe was very underrated and he made a lot of meters and
Scored a
he
try.
Got a try too.
as well. So I think Joe definitely deserves a 2. And then from my 1 point,
There's a lot that can go in that 1 point, bro.
that's the thing. For my 1 point, I'll give it to the hitman himself, Moe Diori.
Yeah, for mine's pretty much the same. I got Joe K at the 1 point. He did a lot of good, man. And for a soccer, he was the best soccer player on the field, for sure. Number 2, I had to give it to Moe Diori because we were training a ton as well. Like, he was at every session, and we're really good. We're boys, man. I'm going to say it. We're boys, all right? And he's a tough. Like, I know from just training against him, he's one tough bastard to tackle, bro. His legs are like this, and he was using every bit of his legs to benefit the team, man. And he was making a ton of meters. Grabbed the try that looked so soft. I'm like, did Moe just score a try? I swear he just walked over him, And then number 3, you got to give it to Borat. And I told the cast patrol and I told the group chat after our first training session where I met him. I'm like, our fullback position's covered. Even though he didn't end up playing fullback, Rando ended up getting moved there. Borat was a real tough guy to tackle, really athletic, really strong, and bro, the guy's just got a smile on his face the whole time. I remember we had our first sesh, bro. He didn't make a noise. I was like, and I looked at him. I'm like, when he got added to the group chat, I'm like, who the hell is this bloke? I've never seen this guy in my life. And then I looked at his page and I'm like, oh, I've been watching this guy for years and I don't even know. And after that first session, he was himself, like normal, really happy self, always smiling and energetic, bro. He was so G'd up on game day. Like, and bro, he made everybody smile, bro. The vibe was so good because he was always contributing to that, and he showed on the field that he was giddy to be on the field, and he grabbed 2 tries? Yeah, I think it was 2. 2, and yeah, what a beast, man. And shout out to Hadi Saleh, man, because his knee was messed up because Shaq scored a try on his knee, and we watched it back, and it looks like he's done his MCL, and if that's the case, he scored the game-winning try with an MCL injury. So a lot of heart showed by good old Hadi. I call him Hadi, but everybody calls him 2 different names. But shout out to him, bro. And this is his 3rd one, bro, and he's just a legend, bro. He gets up for it every time.
Well, I reckon I do have a question for everyone going on, looking into the future next year. What are some things you would like to see, some differences? Obviously this year was very different. We had a DJ, which I thought was it just built the atmosphere a lot more than it did the previous years. The activations that were there, the crowd atmosphere was a lot better this year. What are some things you would like to see change, keep the same, built on? What would you like to see?
Yeah, look, so I'm happy to kick this one off. I don't know if this one is achievable, but maybe just switching from a Sunday to a Saturday. Again, it just depends on the logistics of it, right? Also, the timing, footy games might be on Saturdays, hence why you might not have the field. But the reason why I'm just doing that is because it gives probably the opportunity for, I know me personally, yesterday at about 6 o'clock, I was like, better make my way home. I've got things to do.
Work tomorrow.
Exactly right. Whereas if it's a Saturday, I think if you have it on a Saturday, you might be able to get both the teams together to hang around, kind of go to a bigger dinner, make more of an afterwards day where we all kind of cross-collaborate. So that would probably be my only thing. But again, it's logistics.
Yeah, I'd say moving it to a Saturday would be really good. I think moving it back 1 week so it doesn't interfere with any trials would also be a decent idea, because a lot of people didn't come, and so a few people didn't play because the Dogs were playing at Cogra, So I think moving it back a day, and I think I saw one suggestion where we have the games beforehand, having a Legends Nines game or something like that, where a lot of the former players versus each other, and then still a couple of them playing our game, but having them as a headliner or maybe even a main event would be pretty sick. But I think one thing that I would really like is individual player introductions for each team. Yeah. Even though it would take 5-10 minutes to do, I think it would be really sick, because they do it in basketball, where they introduce your name and everybody's got a separate song, and even though there's 42 players introduced, it would be sick, and everybody would get their moment in the spotlight before the game even starts, and I think it would just G everybody up, and I think that would be a really good idea.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be as people run out. I mean, like with the NRL games, that kind of happens on a screen or something while the people are still in the shed. Yeah. So maybe that's a bit of compromise there. You still get your shout out. It gives you an incentive once again to buy the live stream to watch a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I think most people did anyway. Yeah. So that could be a bit of give and take. You save your time, but you still get that thing too. For me... Oh, sorry, did you have more to add?
No, that was it. I was agreeing with you. I was about to say 100%.
Yeah. 2 little things for me. It was one person made the suggestion about whether the winners receive something special like a hat, like a grand final hat, winner's hat.
I was thinking premiership ring or something.
Well, I think that's a bit out of the budget this time.
But this came up somewhere, and what I suggested was that as part of your buy-in, everyone pays the fee to get a hat, but only the winners get it, and the rest goes to charity. So you're putting basically a bet on the line.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
And I think you'd only be looking at an extra $10, $15 more, and you'd be pretty happy to get your cap by the end. And that's sort of legacy stuff that keeps you going when you wear your hat the next year and you've got your Marquis 4, but whatever kind of thing.
Agreed.
I know one other thing. I might be speaking out of school here. I assume this was very tough for the boys logistically. It seemed like it in our chat. Is that getting the guys together for training seemed to be a real tough thing?
That's always tough.
I wonder whether it might be an idea to say next year, if you are playing, these are the requirements that are put on you. If you say yes, there will be one game to play and 4 training sessions. You must make at least 2 of those before you can play. So what that does is it puts in there people's minds that they don't say from the start, oh, I just missed 1 or 2 or whatever, and you're scrambling. And it's just a buy-in from the start. If you can't commit, then and that's what I'm saying. You get 4, and you pick 2 or whatever. But it just gets people all the way bought in. It saves the boys having to flounder around trying to find a time that suits. Because when you said yes, you committed to this.
Yeah, the problem with that is it like sort of cock blocks. Why am I using that word? But it screws a lot of the people that are living interstate or in Newey. Like we have like 3-4 players from Newey and another 3 that are from interstate, and like that means they have to have the funds in order to do so. I think it's a bit harsh as well.
With the exception of, so I am one of those interstate
exactly.
players. So what we did is we had organised our training session before anyone in Sydney had.
Yeah.
And I know it's only organising 4 people instead of 16, but I think the one time that they did have a get-together, 3 people or something showed up the first time. The last time we did on the Saturday, pretty much everyone was there. So I think as long as there's some kind of... It's just as an onus on you when you buy in that you're actually committing to something, not just a free ticket to have a bit of a muck around on the day and you're not actually buying in.
Yeah, it's a bit tough logistically to get everybody there, but I get you. It's like, because we definitely benefited from having the training sessions, like the individuals that were actually there, right?
Yeah.
So like me, Moe, Borat, Josh, like Owen, like we had multiple training sessions together, and that helped us on the field a ton. Like, and even last year as well.
So I 100% agree with what you're saying. But can you see from a culture point the difference between someone... So if you say you have to attend 4, if I'm really desperate to attend, then I bother to message the boys and say, I really want to play. I can't make all of them. What can I do to make up? As opposed to someone who says, guess I won't play then.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that first guy. Yeah, so it's just, it saves you from the stragglers or the people who are kind of half in, half out, turn up late. You just get yourself... And I know what it's like to organise things, not at this scale, but that kind of culture shift, it just does 9/10 of the legwork for you. Yeah. Anyway, we're sitting here all hypothesising, the boys may totally disagree.
Yeah, 100%.
It's up to them.
Yeah, straight out.
Yeah.
For me, I think maybe an evening game, like a 5:30 game. I know like we all have the dinner afterwards and that, and obviously it does, ground commitments are another thing. We had to be out by 5, this year. But just to have, like a lot of us boys, like especially over the past few years, 3 p.m., 30 degree, no clouds, just very hot, and we're not the, most fittest boys. Like we are... like even the NRL players, like we are, we're just content creators. Some of us have more experience on the field than others, and some people are used to that. But, I think a lot of the reason a lot of us were gassing out early and a lot earlier than usual is because of that. Like the heat was just getting to us. Like if you look at me, like I'm, you looked at Fred yesterday, he looked like a tomato. Like, and me, I got so sunburned, but I love playing at like 3 p.m. I think a 5:30 game would also be a bit easier, especially for fans. Like they have.
It is a little less kid friendly.
It's
though.
a bit,
It is. That's the only thing. It is like I'm not talking about like a 7:30 game. I'm talking about like maybe a 5:30 game. It is a little bit harder for the kids, but for me, it's just like I think. Just in general, just for maybe a better, slightly better quality of the game.
I think you'll find there'll also be issues if you play at night with streaming.
Yeah.
And lighting. It will also be an additional cost.
So it's just obviously just throwing out ideas. But that would be
that's
like
right.
my
Sometimes
one.
we get our ideas wrong. That's right.
yeah. I love it. Hey, give me a high five, bro. Anybody that puts it on Flaxy,
They're
right at home in the chair.
Yeah, there we go.
Is this a
There's-
semi-permanent fixture or what?
There we go. There's the one, dig at me every episode. There we go.
oh, we can just get. We can go a bit more.
Just rolling.
Here we go.
No, I'm joking.
But and I think that's more my sort of take, and maybe I think I want to stick with that. I think maybe just a bit later in the day, like even just so it's like less heat. Obviously can't predict weather on the day, but we are playing in the summer.
I would love a rainy game. I know you can't control that, but
I
I
would
love a rainy game.
as much as I'd love a rainy game, the injuries that could come from that.
That'll skyrocket.
That'll
Like, and the amount of errors in that game would be it'd be like in a game of AFL nearly. So, but I would love to. I'd love to have a rainy game too. I think that would be pretty cool.
What I liked last year was an addition, maybe a guest referee.
Yeah, that was my next thing because, bro, I wanted to deck those referees in the second half, and I had.
He's gonna get fined for that right
Dude,
now.
they can find me all they want. I had that referee when I was playing, and I just wanted to launch something at him back then. And I was nice to the refs back then because I was captain. So, and Moe said the same thing, bro, because we used to verse each other. Had the same. We recognized this ref, and Moe comes in at halftime. Bro, I had this ref when I was young. He's the shittest ref ever, and he got even worse in the second half.
Bro,
And
the
it's
amount of
way
just
easy-
abuse that ref copped to, just quietly.
Like Hammy G probably copped more than that because it's Hammy G. And I do miss the guest referees.
I think a guest referee would be nice because even when they get calls bad, there's a lot more leniency.
That's right, and it kind of becomes a comedic thing. So if Abs gets flattened and everyone starts going up to Hammy and he's mic'd up, he just starts coming up with some kind of joke line, and it's all
mate.
sweet. I didn't see it. Oh, it looked sweet to me. It looked like I was on the jet. Whatever. I will say that, I don't know if the refs got paid, but I mean, good on them. Like anyone who goes out there and has the balls to make a call. Then
26 blokes.
yeah, I mean, I don't know him.
Because
I've never
everyone
met him
was
before,
going at
but
him.
I did see him in the Wenny Club afterwards, and I did say thanks very much for reffing the game.
So did I on the way out. So we can all be mad like during the game, but after the game, we're all just human beings. That whatever happens on the field stays
And
there.
once
bro.
you pass that white line, the sideline, it's a different game. You don't take anything off the field, especially towards animosity, towards decisions and that. It's all on field. So, no, I'm very. Is there anything else anyone would like to add in? In terms of ideas or just thoughts on the game or anything else? Because
Thank you for coming on, Retro. That's a bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely,
You
legend.
have a media tour all the way around Sydney. Going through Penrith to here in Bankstown, or is it Bankstown considered Bankstown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Here
in
to
Belmore
Bankstown
the other
and
day.
Belmore,
I'll be in
in
Alexandria
Sydney.
tomorrow.
So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule.
Really
No, not a problem.
Yeah,
Happy to
thank-
be here.
No, I appreciate that. I think that does us.
I got one
Jump back
thing.
on camera in 7 months.
I got one thing to say as somebody who probably won't be playing in the next one. Dude, for those who go through sporting injuries, I feel you, man. It's just completely it's completely fucked my whole mood. The last day, I've just been a completely different person because I know I'm gonna have to probably go through a very long and hard rehab process after I just finished one. And it's gut wrenching, man. I hate it, and I just hope that nobody else has to go through this sort of shit because it absolutely sucks. Because there's nothing more in the world that I love doing more than playing sport, bro. And I'm probably not going to be able to do it for another year, maybe even longer. So I'm gonna miss it, and I just can't thank everybody enough for all the messages and support that they've given me, and I hope that one day I can return to the field and have a great time and. Because I'm fucking gonna miss this shit. So if you boys play next year, play a little bit harder because I probably won't be able to be there. And
Special guest referee, boys.
maybe but refs have to run, so I'm probably gonna be back in the
Get one of
coach's
those little
coach's
wheelchairs
seat.
with the little roller thingo.
Probably gonna be in the coach's seat again, bro. So, but man, just all the support has been amazing, and I'm hoping that I get some good news in the next couple of days. But they sort of know. You sort of know when it happens, and I know I've done something Whether it's as bad as I think, I don't know. But I know something snapped, so I'm just praying that it's not that bad, but probably is.
No, praying out to you. Obviously, like everyone will keep updated on your stories, but hopefully it's not as bad as it appears to be. So, as I said, thank you, Retro. Thank you, boys, for jumping on. It's always good to recap one of these after such a massive event, and I hope we smash the goal. I think we will. I think we'll smash the goal of what was it? 15,000 they wanted to do, and I think with the games beforehand, I think we'll do it. So, thank you again, Sportshed, for putting on such a great
Well done, boys.
great event. You boys do the hard yards. Like so much behind the scenes. People don't actually know how hard you guys do put like blood, sweat, and tears into this event, and there's nothing like this in Australia. Like I don't think, you have the Sidemen charity match, but like I don't think there's anything like this for Australia, especially not for this sport. So, it grows the game, it grows, it helps everyone in the community and it brings everyone close together. Like the only other time I see everyone close together is Magic Round. Like really, that's it. So thank you, boys, for that. Thank you, boys. And hopefully we'll get to see you maybe in the couch and in the studio a bit more maybe in the future.
Sure, if it's in the budget to fly me down.
In the budget, hotel
It's not in the
rooms and
Let's not get ourselves.
But yeah, I appreciate it. And,
Do you take donkey?
Donkeys are expensive,
you
man.
know what I'd take is
what do you mean, French right there?
I'd take a Lebanese barbecue is what I'll take as
No, all
payment.
right, all right. I'll call that tighter.
I think we can fit that into the budget. So
He just called me a donkey. Donkeys take runs.
thanks, guys, for watching. I appreciate it. See you next time.
See you guys.
Bye. Cheers, boys.
Very good.